Hi, today's tutorial is about using OpenOffice, which is a word processing program that you can download online for free. And it's the program that I use for creating my book interiors. So this is a series about how to format book interiors for self-publishing. And seeing that the program I use is OpenOffice, that's the program that I'll walk you through today. Just give you the basics. So if you don't have OpenOffice, you're going to need to download it, and that's very simple, of course. So I'm just going to go on to Google Chrome here and type in download OpenOffice. And you can probably take any one of these sites that pop up. Just click on the first site, the official download from Apache OpenOffice. Then, of course, download full installation, and it will walk you through all the instructions once you hit download. But you probably don't need a tutorial on downloading programs from the internet, as most people know how to do that today. So I'll close that up. And I already have OpenOffice on my computer, of course. So here it is on my desktop. Double click to open it. Now it's got a few different applications: spreadsheet, presentation, drawing, database, formula, templates. What I'm going to go to is text document, because that's really the only one I use, because what I would use OpenOffice for is writing my manuscripts and formatting my books. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So I'll double click on text document. And here I have a blank sheet of white paper, all ready to go with my words and my thoughts, and ready to become a new book. So I'll just walk you through some of the basic tools. Every word processing program is a little bit different, and this is just a video that's going right back to basics for the beginner who's never used OpenOffice before. So, and this will be somewhat specific to actually formatting your book. So I'm going to assume that you've used a word processing program before, Microsoft Word or something similar, but everyone's going to be a little bit different. So the first thing that I would probably do for starting a book would be to go up to Format. And here I'm going to want to just starting to set up the basic layout for my book. So under Format, we'll find formatting for paragraphs. Let's start with that one. So one of the first things I'm going to want to do is make sure that my work is indented in the standard recognized kind of book style. So I don't want an indent before text or after text unless I'm setting off a quote or something similar, but I will want the first line of every paragraph indented. So here we are, first line, and I like to go with about 0.5 of a centimeter. And it's going to be set here at single spacing automatically, which is fine for a book, but it might be a little bit crowded. The aesthetic might be just a little bit claustrophobic. You may find that you want something more like 1.5 or proportional. Double is usually a little too spacey for book formatting. Let's choose proportional for today and see what that looks like. And there we go. Now I've got my spacing and my indent. I don't do too much with the rest of these for now. And like I say, this is the very most basic tutorial for OpenOffice, and I'll get more into the technicalities of book formatting with videos, subsequent videos. So, okay, and close that up. Now also under formatting, we'll want to look at the page formatting, because here we're going to be choosing a size, margins. So my format is letter. Here's where I choose my size, my width and my height. I've got my orientation at portrait. That's good. That's what we want. looking like a book right there, but this is a letter kind of size. This is more the size that you would have for, a printing from your computer. So we're going to want to go smaller, like the size of a book page. In the description, I will include from the Amazon website once you open up your Amazon account. And that will be a subsequent video too that I talk about how to do that and walk you through that. But you will be given some choices for your size for your book. And I'll leave the standard ones in the description, converting between inches and centimeters. I don't know if it's because I'm in Canada, but mine automatically is set to centimeters. And your Amazon account will show you both in inches and in centimeters. So I'll include the information in the description what the equivalents are. So here, I'm going to want to set up one of the sizes that I like, which is a 5-inch by 8-inch size page. And in centimeters, that's going to be 12.7 by 20.32. And again, you don't really have to memorize this. I'll leave it in the description. You can copy it down for future reference, all the different sizes. Then you can just, measure some books that you have on your shelf and get a feel for a size that you think you like. Okay, so here's my margins. They are set automatically at 2 centimeters, which is quite a lot for a book. So later on, we'll get into talking about left page versus right page, because you may want some margin differences on your left page versus your right page, because you do want a little wider margin in the middle of your book, possibly. I mean, in the center column, because where the fold is, you want to make sure you don't lose any words, or the reader doesn't have a hard time reading the words that are near the spine. But for now, let's leave the top and bottom margins at 2, and we'll set my left and right margins at 1, and you can get a sense of what those margins look like. And here's the layout settings, the page layout right and left, but we won't tackle that one today. So here's what the page is going to look like roughly. So let's click OK. And there we go. This is now in a book size that you could begin writing in. And that way you'll have a sense of how many pages your book is actually going to need as you're going along, rather than writing your manuscript in the larger size page and not having any idea how many pages that your book might actually turn into. Okay, so those would be some of the first things that I would do. As I'm starting to write, I would want to choose a font for myself and a size. Of course, here is bold, italics, underline, and here's the alignment for your text. I like to go with justified. So this one is justified, where you have that nice, even looking kind of text all down the page. It will space your words for you so that everything looks even and just more like a professional book. So let's choose justified here. And maybe right now I'm going to want it centered, because I'm going to have as my first words, chapter 1. Hit enter. And now I'll go back to justified. And as you can see, here's my indent done automatically. Every time I hit enter, the first line in the paragraph will be indented. So I've downloaded a whole lot of different fonts. You can find free font sites and you can download yourself some slightly more exciting fonts than your computer comes with. So here are just some of the choices that I have. Now, of course, for the body of your book, you're going to want something, very readable, very plain and understandable. I like to go with something a little more exciting than Times New Roman. So I might like Constantia. Let's choose Constantia for now. And right now it's set at 12, which is a little high for a regular book manuscript. But it all depends on the type of book. It really depends on your aesthetic taste and how many pages you want the book to come out to be. I'm going to highlight this and then change the font to 11. And maybe I would change the chapter to give it a little more exciting font. Let's go with Adler, which is a nice typewriting kind of a look. So there are some basics. Of course, you're going to want to know how to save and save at regular intervals. So for now, we'll choose save. Let's choose a title for this, which will be practice book. Now here is one of the best things about the OpenOffice program is that it gives you the option to save as type. So if you're asked for a Word document, OpenOffice gives you the option to save something that's recognizable as a Microsoft Word document. Rich text format is an important one because every computer will recognize rich text format and be able to read it. And as you can see, there's a few different choices here. The ODF is the OpenOffice. And if you save in this format, which is the default, that will mean that somebody else on their computer who doesn't have the OpenOffice, they won't be able to open it. They won't be able to open your document or read it. So you're more likely, when you're ready to send it to be read, or if you want to send it to a beta reader, you're probably going to want to save it in a Microsoft Word format, as that's more common for people to have. So I'm going to save it in rich text format, which won't have all the formatting options, so some of my formatting would be lost. So I wouldn't do this for my final product, but I'll do it for now just to demonstrate. Rich text format, of course, choose where you want this to be saved. And for me, I'm going to choose my desktop. And I'm going to keep the current format. That just means I'm agreeing to stick with the format that I chose. Here we are. There it is, my practice book. Now, here's another feature that you're going to need. Under File, eventually you will want to export this as a PDF, which means basically it's like and again, I'm going very basic for people just starting out. Probably most people would know what a PDF is, but it's basically like you're taking a picture of your manuscript. So nothing can be changed. So your fonts will look the same. Yeah, PDF just is the format where it's going to be transferred across exactly the way you saved it. I don't know anything more technical about it. That's just how I think of it. Here under File, here is another a feature that I really like and use a lot, page preview. So when I click on that, it will show me the entire page. And of course, once I have my whole book written and formatted, then I can just go through and have a look and see how everything looks. Make sure that my blank pages are where I want them to be, my chapter titles are where I want them to be, just get a good overview of what the book is going to look like. Close preview. Tools is another feature that I would use quite a lot. I will just show you some of the features here. Spelling and grammar. This is your spell check. So of course it doesn't recognize the word Constantia. And I would say, because I do want to keep that word, I don't want to change it. So I would say ignore once or ignore all. If I do like their suggestion and I want to change Constantia to Constantine, if I actually have made a mistake, then I would say change. Again, you probably know how to use spell check, but I've got my spell check set to English Canada. And of course, there are other choices depending on the spelling of the English from whatever country you're going to be publishing in, or your market, your primary market will be in. You have some choice there for your spell check. Also under tools, word count is one that I would use quite a lot of. So far I have 10 words. And of course, if you're writing a manuscript to actually present to a publisher rather than self-publishing, your word count will be an important thing to know. And under edit, here's another important feature that I would use, and that is find and replace. If I realize maybe that I want to change a character name, or there's just something that I've written throughout and now I've decided that I want to change that, I would search for, let's try Constantia, and let's replace it with Constance. So then you can do, this way you can either look for the word that you're looking for, find all, or you can just go right to replace or replace all. So let's try replace all and see what happens. It's replaced one word, which of course is how many times I had Constantia in my sentence. And now it's the Constance font. So that's a neat little feature that you might find to come in handy. And of course, once you get this downloaded, you're going to want to do a lot of playing and experimenting. But those are some of the basics. And of course, at some point, you're probably going to want to do some printing. So there's your printer icon. And of course, you can also access print from your file. And as we're going through the formatting of a book, of course, we'll get more into the technicalities, but this is some of the basics. Also up here, of course, if you want to do graphics, you have some options for doing graphics. If your interior isn't going to be black and white, you have some choices about font color, highlighting, the background color. Insert, you can insert a picture from file, and then of course there's lots to learn about if you want to start adding graphics to your book, and that will just take some playing with, but this is a very basic tutorial for today, so we won't get into that. But as we are moving more into the technicalities, we'll also be looking at headers, footers, and footnotes, manual breaks, and these are all indexes and tables. So the insert is actually a very important one of the tools up here too that you're going to want to get familiar with. And of course you can do a lot of playing and experimenting on your own, and I will walk you through some of the things I know how to do as well. Okay, and here I'll hit my save icon and close my document. There we go, we have a start practice book. All right, thanks for watching today. In the description, I will include the links to my website in case you decide that you would rather just pay somebody to do your book formatting for you. That is also an option from my website. You can check out some of my work and decide if that would be easier than learning how to do every step yourself. So I'll include those links. Thanks for watching. Bye now.